Hi, thank you. So once again, a very good morning to everyone here with us today. So today we're having the panel discussion. Oh, the name is not here. So let me just reiterate the name for this panel discussion. The topic will be why the electronics sector is still a beacon of light. Once again, I'm Sen, Process Support Engineer from Applied Materials, and today as the moderator of this session. So now I'm very excited to have with us a very diverse panel, right? Actually ranging from the academia, the industry, and the association. So can I invite just the panelists here to give a short introduction in 1 or 2 lines for yourselves?
Hello, good morning. I'm Professor Kelvin Fong from National University of Singapore. I conduct research in non-volatile memories, and I also teach classes in digital design and memory technology itself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Julie Koh, Strategic Programs Director from SSIA, Singapore Semiconductor Industry Association. Very happy to be here today. So I have been in the industry for about 30 years, have worked in the fab with technology, have worked with customers in terms of customer engineering, as well as back-end assembly and test quality management. So right now I'm handling the strategic programs for the industry at SSIA, and thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Eu Gene. I work at AMD. I manage the team, the design team at AMD in Singapore. So we do analog digital design. I've been in the industry almost 30 years now. I started my career as a designer, IC designer, and I've been enjoying it ever since. Thanks.
Morning, everyone. I'm actually Velinda. I actually head the workforce development of SSIA. So I'm actually a colleague of Julie. Prior to this, I was actually in the semiconductor industry, if you can guess for how long. Honestly, I didn't want you all to guess because you will know how old am I. I've actually been with the semiconductor industry in one company for 30 years. Okay? It is a company that I can say that is no one leaves. And if you ask me why am I there, it is actually the passion that I want to stay in the semiconductor industry. So when I was retrenched in 1992, I tell myself semiconductor industry will be here to stay in Singapore because it is actually an ever-growing industry. There's always ups and downs, but I believe that if all of us are here to grow it, and with the talents that we have in the future, we should be able to do a good job, and it'll be here to stay. So I started in 1992 in the one company. Until today, I'm still in the semiconductor industry. So hope for everyone to be as open as possible, ask me questions, and ask why am I here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Velinda. So my name is Foo Kuo Yang. I'm a HR leader with STMicroelectronics. So actually I live and breathe in the semiconductor industry for the past 18 years as well, but not as long as our veterans here. I have been started off my career as a facility engineer with a fab. So that was about 10 years, that was about 2004. That's where I started my career. 10 years ago, I married HR. So I actually made a switch from the fab to HR. And I've been enjoying my career since then and creating new possibilities with the talents that we have. So I'm very excited to be here to have this conversation with all of us, and hope that we'll bring the insights to all of us here who are interested to know more about our industry. Thank you so much.
Okay, hello everyone. Hello everyone. So I'm Zhi Sen. I'm a year 2 undergraduate studying engineering science at the National University of Singapore. So I'm actually specializing in nanotechnology and nanoscience. So that's why I actually have a keen interest in the semiconductor industry. So compared to our our panelists here, as you can see, I don't have as much experience. But hopefully for the students here, maybe I can give a fresh new perspective from a student point of view of perhaps how I came to explore, to come across certain opportunities or certain interests that might help you guys. Yeah. So hope to learn from everyone today.
Okay, thank you, panelists, for the good introduction they will give. I hope the participants know you guys better now, but you can know them better during the sharing later. So the semiconductor industry has been the talk of the town for a while, and especially more so after the COVID-19 pandemic, which has helped accelerated the digital transformation of the world. With growing chip demands, the semiconductor industry is poised to develop into a $1 trillion industry by 2030. And through today's discussion, we hope to tell you and to show you that the semiconductor industry has been and will still be a beacon of light in the future. So without further ado, let us dive into the first question today. And that is about the day in life in the semiconductor industry as an engineer or technician. Yeah. So as work conditions and work-life balance are increasingly important considerations for the younger generation in choosing their career path, many of the students here might have heard some stereotypes about the semiconductor industry. So can we invite some of the industry experts here in the panel to shed some colors on the day of life in the entry-level engineer or technician?
Okay, so maybe I will start there. Okay, probably many of our impression of even some of us here is that the semiconductor industry is one where you see people wearing spacesuits and working in clean rooms, right? So I think that's one of the first impressions that probably lasts for many years. That's true to a certain extent, but today, as I think François has mentioned and Zhi Sen has also mentioned before, that the semiconductor industry is evolving and transforming significantly. There's many automations, digital solutions, digital technologies, robotics or AI that goes into our wafer fabrication or even the equipment manufacturers as well. So you can see that there is this transformation whereby our people, our engineers, our technicians are involved in solving complex problems day to day. They are putting their efforts and their contributions towards where they are able to ensure the smooth running of the $1 billion operations. They actually make sure that we ensure the quality of the products that goes into our daily lives. And also, this is something that all of us will be proud of in the sense that every day there are new possibilities that's being brought about, as François has already mentioned. Every day, there's new things that's going to be developed. There's new things that comes into our life. So that said, I just want to say that semiconductors is actually in the heart of everything that impact us, whether it's the way that we work, the way that we live, the way that we interact. And we are very proud of where our engineers and technicians, not just for STMicroelectronics, but the whole industry as an ecosystem, making positive contributions in many aspects of this, be it in medical devices that saves lives, be it in electrical vehicles that improves our environment, or even in devices that connects us. So that's it. Maybe a little advertisement. ST stands for Life Augmented, and probably just to take a snap of what work-life balance motivates people. And in ST, what really motivates our employees, engineers, and technicians is that the work that we do make lives better. So that's our definition of work-life balance. So I hand over to the next panelist.
So maybe a bit of context from a design perspective. So on an average day, if you're an entry-level engineer, you would definitely be consulting with your supervisor or your manager. So one thing about design teams, at least the ones I've been, they are typically global, so you work with a lot of teams in other countries. So in the mornings, you might be checking emails from your colleagues in the US because they've been working the day before. And then maybe you look at what are some of the action items you might want to complete on an average day. You might get involved in some design reviews because a lot of times the design reviews are done in a committee. So you have a team of designers looking at certain issues or making sure that all the different checklist items are completed before you can send your design out to manufacture. Communication is a big part of the whole sort of, if you work in a design environment, communicating is very important. So whether it's meetings or email exchanges, it's going to be a big part of how you spend your day, right? Besides the actual design work, which could be coding or schematic work or some kind of data analysis. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you Koh Yang, and thank you, Eugene. Maybe can hear from ladies in the industry, Julie?
So for our industry, for sure, let's say as a young engineer or technologist, the learning curve will be relatively steep. However, it will be very exciting as well as very innovative, that's for sure. So one thing that we are really very proud of for semiconductor industry is that we really value people, our talents in the industry and so on. So we expect a significant amount of training, coaching from the company, from the industry, to bring the people up in terms of skill, as well as to develop and groom the people. So that's one of the reasons, if you look at our panelists, so many of us has been here for a long time for a simple reason. One is, of course, we grow with the industry, we grow with the technology, as well as we put in quite a fair bit of passion, be it in the work we do, the product, as well as people. Teamwork is extremely important, and we go with it.
Yep, thank you, Julie. So, yeah, I can actually attest to it. As a new process support engineer at Applied Materials, the learning curve is indeed steep. But as Julie has mentioned, the passionate seniors in the industry will actually provide very good mentorship, and that is how I'm coping with my job now as a process support engineer supporting at customers' fab wearing the spacesuit that Koh Yang mentioned about. Yeah. So actually, in my line of work, we actually help to start up and install the semiconductor manufacturing equipment to actually help our customers to actually produce these IC integrated circuit chips. So we actually help them solve some high-value problems that together as a teamwork, together as a team, right, we actually find it very interesting and very satisfying if we manage to help our customers solve this problem, actually help build relations with them. Okay, so maybe let us move on to the second question, right? So about exciting opportunities in the semiconductor industry. So as the semiconductor industry is set to grow significantly in this decade, attracting talented individuals like Zhi Sen will be a very important task for every company, right? So Zhi Sen, you have done quite a few internships in the semiconductor industry and you're very involved, right, as a SSIA student ambassador. So can you share with us what makes you so passionate about the semicon industry and why do you think other students should join you as well?
Okay, thanks for the question. So, as a student's point of view, I feel that we are all at a stage where we are exploring different opportunities, different positions. Like I mentioned in my speech just now, that engineering is extremely broad, and semiconductor, even in the semiconductor space, right, is also very, very broad. There are so many different processes, so many different stages, so many different recipes. And honestly, if you ask, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think even experts, that you won't be able to know every single process very, very in depth. So that's why as students, right, it's impossible for us to know exactly what we are getting ourselves into. So we got to get our hands dirty, okay? Make sure that we take the initiatives to go for like career talks, go for company visits, and this SSIA Youth Ambassador Program is also a very good chance for us ambassadors to learn more about the industry. So from my past internship, I learned about innovation in the space because I interned at the Industry 4.0 Semiconductor Focus Accelerator. So over there, I'm very lucky. I'm very, very lucky to have been exposed to a lot of different proof of concepts such that they are able to integrate their technology to my company, Ultra Clean Technologies solutions. So from there, I get to see the value of innovation in the space, and I guess that's what excites me. The fact that even though the semiconductor industry has been here for so long, like it's been here for so long, and it might seem like a very old job to be in, but the thing about semiconductor industry is that with every innovation, right, we can actually rely on those innovations. So for example, for like currently the trend now is AI, right? I'm sure that in the future, there will be some semiconductor innovations that relies on this such that we can improve our processes and things like that. So that's what I'm very excited about, and I hope that I can be part of it in the future. So if the students are interested, maybe try your best to find out more, take up more opportunities, and yeah, just get your hands dirty.
Yeah, very good sharing, Zhi Sen. So I think it's not about jumping at opportunities, right? I mean, it's important, but I think Zhi Sen is very prepared to jump on this opportunity when it presents itself, right? So I think for the students out there, you have to refine your skills and then recognize and jump on these opportunities, right? So maybe moving on to Professor Kelvin, right? So from your interaction with students in the academia, are there any misconceptions in the semiconductor industry that you want to debunk? And is there any other opportunities in the industry that you want to highlight to the students now?
Yes, so actually in my classes and even in the projects that I give to students, a lot of times when students first approach me, they're a little bit afraid that the projects are very challenging and stuff like that, you know. But actually, if you put yourself in an experience, that excitement from the challenge is actually what will propel you forward. You know, the passion needs to be there. Right, so a lot of times I have students that get involved in broad-ranging kind of research projects as well as application such projects. Once they get involved, they get their hands dirty, then you start to see that, yeah, it's challenging, but that's actually part of the journey. That's what makes your life exciting. So, as the earlier panelists have mentioned, things like AI and stuff like that, I'm sure that a lot of students today, they are very passionate about certain topics, sustainability and stuff like that. And in fact, semiconductors can actually deliver a lot of solutions in that direction. So don't be too worried about the difficulty of the project. I mean, that's naturally why the industry is big. It's so much money involved. But if you put your mind to it, you put your heart into it, you can actually do something. And university is actually a good place to start. We train our students. We give them very interesting and challenging projects to work on. It's actually one of the environments that you could fail in a safe way. You're not in a company. The profit of the project is not really the most important thing. So, in class projects, that's when you can really learn. And then after that, you take the experience that you have, the knowledge, transfer that, and that actually builds value to our industry partners later on.
Yep, thank you. So is there any opportunities in the industry that you want to highlight to the participants and especially the students here?
Opportunities in industry. I think that's probably better for our industry panelists
Maybe let me
to
answer.
answer. Yeah.
Honestly, industry is always hiring. Opportunities are there for you. So what is important is that you must have the passion, you must like what you do. So it is important that go out there. Today is actually a good example for you. Go to every company, talk to the companies, talk to the people who are passionate like me, okay? Or talk to anyone that actually can bring you light to see what is your future in this industry, okay? So if you don't talk to them, you won't know. You need to actually see what they do because there's lots of experienced people out there that you can actually touch base with.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. Kelvin, as well as Velinda. I think touching on that as well, I think internship is one of the best avenue to gain this real-life experience working with real-life employees as well as solving real-life complex problems. So as Prof. Kelvin mentioned, is that in the school environment, it's very safe, right? You don't have the impact. You have the opportunity and the space and room to learn. And really, having the internship is also a pretty safe environment where you can translate this hands-on your textbook knowledge into real-life applications. So I do really want to urge people here who are very interested in this industry, as Velinda mentioned, talk to the companies out there. Come to ST as well, just joking. Talk about the internship opportunities, because this is one way that you can really debunk your own myth about the industry by talking to real people who have been in this industry, whether it's in the spacesuit or working in designs or even in other functions like the HR, the finance as well, to understand this industry. So do not feel hesitant that whether this is the right one. Take the first step out. I think the important thing is once you take the first step out, you will know what this industry is about. And I can assure you, this is a very exciting industry. Every day is a new possibilities. That's why we are still here after so many years, right?
Right, thank you. So take the first step, get your hands dirty, talk to the companies outside in the booth, find out more, and perhaps join some internship, right? So now I think at this juncture, right, we have heard many exciting opportunities from the panel, right? So one important question is, how can the students prepare themselves to enter the industry, right? So how can students better prepare, better equip themselves to be able to get into the semiconductor industry, whether it's an internship or their first full-time job after they graduate? So what are the different ways that they can prepare themselves, right? Maybe we can hear from Velinda, how they can prepare themselves to excel at the interview and eventually land a job at the semiconductor industry.
Honestly, what is important is that before you go to the interview, know the job that you are applying for. Okay? And you must have interest, because if you don't have interest or you don't have passion, you will not be able to motivate yourself to go to work every day. So what is important is that build that interest, build it not just today, tomorrow, build it over the time, create the interest there. It's like if I want to be an engineer, I have to be good in maths, I have to like science, I have to actually like to take down something, tear it down completely and build it up again. And with that, slowly you build your interest. Then with that interest, apply for the job.
Thank you, Velinda. So, what do the other panelists think? Is there like other ways that the students or the participants here can actually encourage themselves to, or rather to encourage them to get more exposure to the semicon industry?
I would say, nowadays with social media and the internet, it's so easy to find more information about the industry. Is like what are the opportunities available? Events like this are a perfect example of how you can find out more. But I think also in terms of what Velinda said, that the passion is one thing, but I think if you are curious and you are eager to learn, that sense or that attitude would carry you quite far. Even in an interview, a lot of times think about what the questions you ask the interviewer also says a lot about. It's also not just what you get asked, right? It's also the questions that you ask that will say a lot about how you feel about industry and what excites you. So think about that as well, right?
Thank you, Eugene. So, right. So, you need to be curious about the industry. You need to take active steps to work towards getting into the semicon industry, right? So, personally, like myself, right, and Zhi Sen, what we have slightly in common, I guess, will be that we have quite a bit of a head start in the industry while we were still a student, right? So, for him, he's involved in SSIA. He has internships with the semicon industry. For myself, I was very fortunate to be a pioneer batch of this applied materials NUS co-op internship program, where I actually managed to have internship with applied materials at various functions throughout my 4 years of study at NUS, right? So this actually helped me to bridge the gap between my academia and for industry knowledge, right? And eventually I managed to hit the ground running and start my first full-time job with applied material as a PSE. Not the most smooth sailing because of a steep learning curve, but it really does help me prepare a lot. And it's a good head start, and it actually helped to motivate me and align me more towards the function, the job function that I'm really interested in, right? Okay, so now we will take some questions from the floor. Yeah, okay, so the first question that we have, right, is how is the semiconductor industry moving towards sustainability? It is a very resource-intensive industry. I guess it was shared just now in the talk, right? So is there any maybe perhaps newer ways that we are actually moving towards sustainability?
So maybe I can share this. In fact, semiconductor industry is an industry that is very focused on sustainability. And just last year, we just had one of our SSIA summit, and our key topic of discussion is on sustainability. So it's the interesting thing is that for manufacturing, right, for the fabs and so on, in fact, we use a lot of energy, a lot of water and so on. However, we are also the innovator in terms of the products that are helping the world, to reduce energy usage and things like that through IoT, Internet of Things, through digitalization, and through solutioning. So it is a great focus in terms of the semiconductor industry. And in fact, we are starting, for SSIA, we are starting a sustainability committee with the industry, companies, and leaders to look into what are the things that we can do as an industry towards sustainability solutioning, as well as what else can we share with the rest of the world in terms of those solutioning itself. So it is for sure a very focused area for the whole industry itself, and we are welcoming all new solution, green solution, and so on.
Yeah, thank you. So I hope maybe some of the students here can even specialize in sustainability, right? And eventually join the industry to be a sustainability champion for some of these chip manufacturers. So next question goes out to the industry experts. So what do you think will be the next big thing in the semiconductor industry? I think it's a challenging question.
I'll let Eugene.
I think one of the things that's going to drive it, at least it's happening already, right, is AI. I think we can't avoid that. AI is just going to be everywhere. It's going to be in pretty much everything you do, and it just affects all aspects of our lives. So, but then if you think about what is the core fundamental enabler of AI is going to be computer chips, right? Semiconductor chips. And I think that's one of the reasons there's been so much investment in semicon, as well as in, of course, one part of it is software, but you can see why all these fabs are getting built now is because they are forecasting huge demands in computing needs in the future. And then, of course, if you think about AI, you're also thinking about robotics, right? So it's going to be in just everywhere, right? I think that's going to be the huge thing. That's my opinion.
Probably just to add on to what Eugene has mentioned, I think there's also, as we are already seeing it happening in terms of electrical vehicles, right? That's going to be the next, really the next big thing with regards to transportation, right? So there is a lot of the development work happening into talking about next generation kind of electrical vehicles. How can we be more efficient, even in terms of the utilization of electricity in the vehicles? And of course, another thing that we have been talking about, now we have 5G, what are we next? 6G, moving on. So even in the communication front, there's going to be evolution in the way that we communicate faster. Speed is all about what we ask for in communication. You do not want a lag in your handphone when you're watching a movie or playing a game. So these kind of things keep evolving itself in our industry, which is why our industry is very exciting, because no one day is the same. Every day is a look forward to the future and creating new possibilities. Right.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Kuo Yang. So the next question will be, we talk about opportunities in the industry. How can students better prepare themselves, better equip themselves to join the industry, right? So this is a natural question that one of the participants have. So what are some key traits that companies look for when recruiting talents into the industry, or perhaps even the ambassador program that SSIA has?
When I interview candidates, I always put the candidate in front of me, look at the person in the eye. Reason is, actually from your eye, you can tell whether how much interest you have and how the passion that you have. So I'll always ask them, what are the traits that you think that you want to show me? So normally they'll tell me, oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. No, I just tell them, do you have the interest? A very basic question. From that interest, like what I say, I keep telling people, must have that interest, must have that passion. But what is also important is the interest for them to actually know what the job entails. So you need to actually know more about the job that you are applying for. Okay.
Maybe I'll add some. So for our industry, one thing for sure, teamwork is extremely important. So we do look out for team players, simply because when we build a product, when we build a solution, it is not something whereby one person can complete it. At times it will be a big team. It can be even across the industry, multiple companies, before you can get one solution. So collaboration is extremely important. And also, things do not just happen that, okay, a next product will be done immediately. A lot of solutioning goes in place, a lot of systematic problem solving. So that is also an important trait that we look out for the people. And other than that, tenacity, we need to be perseverance to get the final product out. And by the time that solution gets into the world, you'll feel how proud about it. So that's one thing which also will keep that passion burning and that get everybody to continue in the industry.
Yep, thank you. So what we have heard is that you need to be interested, right? You need to be curious about the semicon industry, about the job offers that you are applying for. And of course, you need to be a team player, because semiconductor is just so big, right? Like just now we already mentioned that not one person will be able to know everything, right? So you need to be a key player and have that perseverance to find the answers, right? Especially for the aspiring engineers out there. So many of times, right, the problem you're solving will be a challenging one. That's why it needs an engineer to do it, right? So apart from this, right, maybe we can conclude today's session with maybe one tip or advice or one most important takeaway that the participants here should walk away with, right? Should definitely walk away with this one key advice, right? Maybe one from each panelist. Yeah, I think we have enough time for that. We start from Professor.
Okay, so I think a good summary of this would be you have to be passionate about things, talk to people, talk to industry. I think even going online with social media and stuff like that, there are a lot of websites you can find out about the semiconductor industry. The key thing is you need that curiosity to learn, right? And then be proactive. You know, a lot of times you think that you're not an expert in a topic and therefore you can't do something, but that's not the case in semiconductor industry. You need a good platform to begin with, yes, but with that curiosity and proactiveness, you can go and learn, and then that could help you, you know, land your first internship or job in the industry as well.
So I think for all the young talents, since you're already here today, go to all the companies' booth, have a chat with the company's representative. You'll get a very good view in terms of the whole scope of semiconductor ecosystem, because the kind of jobs and opportunity as well as the potential future is really very vibrant and what we call electrifying future. So other than that, for semiconductor, we are, like what I shared earlier on, people is really at the heart of semiconductor, and we do train, develop people significantly. So SSIA do have got a lot of events that are open to public. Anyone can just participate, especially those that are virtual one. So experience it, join us, so as to have more understanding of the semiconductor industry itself.
I'll just have to add, just don't be shy. Talk to as many people as you can, and engage as much as you can to learn more about it.
Maybe for the youth, what is important is that go out there and look for a mentor. Someone whom you can talk to, someone that if you, in your ups and downs of your career and you feel very down, you just need someone to talk to. There are lots of industry leaders out there that can actually hold your hand and make sure that he helps you or she helps you to push forward. I can be your mentor. But I don't think you want to talk to me, but what is important is that talk to someone that you think can help you. It may be someone even on the streets, but as long as you know what you want in life. Thank you.
Okay, so probably for one piece of advice I have is actually to involve and invite your family members to understand more about our industry together, right? Because just looking at it, many a times our family members provide the strong pillar of support, especially with regards to our career choices at the initial stages. And of course, when, as Velinda mentioned, if you're down, beside your mentor, coming home to your family members can also provide the pillar of support. So I do really urge our students here who are interested in this industry, go get your family's members to come learn about our industry as well. And of course, to debunk some of their previous understanding of how the industry is and how it is today and moving forward. So that would be my advice. Right?
I guess one piece of advice for me is if you don't really know what you like, start off with what you don't like. It's true, it's true. So as students, right, we really don't have enough exposure. There's only so much you can learn from saying, oh, I want to do engineering because I like physics and math. Like, honestly, that is just a first step. You really need to take your time to explore. And as you explore, you'll start to find things that you perhaps don't like about certain industries. And perhaps you might find some things that you like about other industries. So don't be afraid to try. Make sure that you try and figure out what you don't like first as a start. And from there, you can actually do your reflections, consult a mentor, evaluate, like, why do you not like this? And then from there, you can slowly, like, cross out certain career paths that have, like, overlapping, like, job scopes and, like, skills required. And from there, it's a lot easier for you all to narrow down into a path that you all will less dislike. Yeah. So just go out there and experience as much as you can.
Yep, thank you. Actually, yeah, I do agree a lot, right? Especially what Zhi Sen has mentioned, right? Actually, for students now, maybe myself even, right? We sometimes, I mean, there's only two groups of us, right? Some of us, straight away, we know what we want to do in life, right? But some of us, we don't really know, so we have to try it out, and then we bit by bit, we narrow down, correct? And that is actually what we actually want to do for today's session, right? Talk to the companies at the booth out there. Maybe you could narrow down your options, and maybe you could even apply at some of the interesting and exciting opportunities that they have, right? So maybe with this, we can conclude this panel discussion, and can we have a round of applause for our very distinguished panelists today? Thank you.